like your show.
How did I get here? Welcome to the Shipe Sports Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special Monday night episode of the Shipe Sports Talk Show. I am your host, Matthew Shipe, joined always by my co-host, producer Paul.
How's it going?
Good. How you doing today?
All right, man.
Joining across from me, David, the coach Shipe, as always.
How's everybody?
Hoping they're all doing good. And to my left, as always, Brad Lefty Cameron.
Good evening, sports fans. Shipe, thanks for having me on the show.
No problem. And we have a big show lineup for you today on this special Monday. We are going to go over the Redskins' second preseason game. We're going to talk some RG3 and about the little concussion he suffered last Thursday as we broke live on the air. So hopefully you were watching last Thursday as we broke that live. That was pretty something special, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, people were probably watching the show and then just like, boom, RG3's hurt.
Hey, we're on it.
Yep. We're also going to be bringing back our This Day in Sports History, which will be brought to you today by Coach, who will have his history for the day. We'll be debuting another new segment, NFL related, and we will be discussing the Nationals, who, you know, they've won the past two series. They got to keep it going, but of course the Mets kept on winning, so we'll have to see what happens there. But let's get right into it. Let's jump into the Redskins preseason game against the Lions, and the big news from this game was the injury to RG3. He suffered a minor concussion, maybe probably like a head ding, since he was back on Sunday doing 11-on-11, so wasn't too bad. He passed all the medicals, so I mean, you know, the things going out there, he never had a concussion, but obviously, you know, he probably did, but it was probably just like a dizziness, or probably couldn't remember what day it was, or what drive, or how many sets he's been hit so far. I mean, he had a bad game. I mean, he was hit 8 times. I mean, that's just the offensive line. You see, without Trent Williams, it took a big that's a big loss. And if he's not healthy this season, they're going to be in trouble. I think the one highlight, bright spot for the Redskins so far this preseason has been Matt Jones. He had another great day. I mean, he had 6 carries for 44 yards, the 1 touchdown. He's been averaging over 5 yards per carry, I believe, in both games, Brad.
Yeah.
You got also Williams, the rookie from Texas A&M, with 10 carries for 52 yards. Kirk Cousins once again played really well, 8 for 12 for 91 yards for 1 touchdown. Colt McCoy, 5 for 6, 80 yards for 1 touchdown. So the backups are doing their jobs. Obviously, they're playing against other number 2s and number 3s, So we'll see what happens there. Garcon had 1 catch. They kept out. Kerrigan was out. Williams was out. Gillette still out. Deshaun Jackson was still out. So a couple of their stars still out. Will Compton still hasn't seen the field for some reason. They said it today. I'll have to look it up. The other side, Detroit looked pretty good. Stafford was 6 for 8 for 78 yards. So he did a pretty good job. We got to see the guy. The Redskins did a pretty good job holding Amadullah, but he only had 2 carries for 7 yards, so they really didn't use him that much in the game. I don't believe Calvin played. Did Calvin play at all? I don't remember seeing him.
I don't think so.
I think they kept him out. They usually would keep him out. So overall, the Redskins defense did pretty good. They held them. They held the number 1s. I think Detroit's number 1s only got them 10 points, so it's not bad for that kind of offense. So, Brad, what were your thoughts on the game?
Obviously, there's still a bunch of nerves. You know, everyone's still kind of shaky, and on that play, the RG3 got hurt. You know, the pocket was breaking down. He looked to run and like skipped the ball off his knee or skipped it off one of the linemen's legs. Went diving after it and got landed on. It's just, you know, it's just not smooth. It's still not flowing yet, and I think we need more and more pieces to come back. You know, having Deshaun Jackson back, I think, will help in terms of going through progressions for RG3. Obviously, the absence of Trent Williams hurt us a little bit in terms of giving RG3 time. But one bright side we can look at is that we're still running the ball well. And one thing I said that we need to get back to this season was being able to run the ball efficiently to take pressure off RG3. And you talk about Matt Jones being a spark, and you talk about Alf, who's still running well. Both of them were very, very good. So in terms of highlights, I like the fact that we're able to run the ball because I think that will help our passing game significantly if we can, you know, really start consistently getting the ball moving on the ground. But you know, I'd like to see us get healthy. You know, we still have some injuries that we need to come back from, and we need to really see our full lineup and our full roster before we can, you know, really start panicking or making assumptions. But what I like from the Skins so far is the running game by far.
Coach, what were your thoughts on the game?
Well, looking at the stuff, I look up front and I look at with Schreff and Moses over there. They still, they're still improving. They're young rookies. Moses, second-year man. And if they get him going, and then you get Trent Williams back on the left side, I believe that RG won't be running around so much back there. Now, the other thing is you always look for somebody that you want to be able to check down to. With the loss of their tight ends, that puts pressure on, like, your check down. A lot of times you'll check down to the tight end. He's either coming to the seam or across the middle. Now, if you don't have that, which you don't have confidence in who's running your tight end, that's a lot of pressure on you. Because now you're looking at just a couple receivers and there's no, check down guy for you. So that may have pertained to some of the, sacks and whatever. You're looking for a check down guy. But defensively, I still waiting for Gillette to come in because I think people are still waiting for that Gillette-Kerrigan combo off the edge there. So, if that gets in, and hopefully they'll get those two, and maybe that combo will be able to play against the Ravens. I mean, get that together. I think secondary's playing a little better than what it has in the past, and it's going to improve. So, there's some things to work on, grow on, and with that, you get some improvements. They'll get it figured out.
Well, speaking of the tight end situation, the Redskins did acquire a new tight end this week, Derek Carrier from the San Francisco, I believe, for 4th or 5th round pick. It was one of those picks.
5th, yeah.
He's only had 5 career games last year. He's a third-year man, so he really hasn't had much playing time, but hopefully it gives him some depth, and maybe he can spark something. As we saw when Delaney Walker left from under Vernon Davis' shadows, he really got into his own as a Titan, which really I loved. So
tooting your own horn there, aren't you, buddy?
I am tooting my own horn.
Okay.
But hopefully Carrier can follow in what Walker did, and when he left under Vernon Davis' shadow, he just blooms into his own. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, sure.
So let's go with the RG3 injury. Today there was an anonymous NFL head coach, as always. They always keep their names out because they don't want to get themselves in trouble. They said Gruden was wrong for putting RG3 back out there with all the hits he was taking. And you can say yes and no to that, but I think in Gruden's mind, yeah, RG3 was taking hits, but they had to, like he mentioned during the show that day, they didn't have any kind of offense. They didn't pass, I don't think, the 40 through the first 3 drives. So he had to get something going to get his confidence there. And I mean, if you don't put him back out there, it's almost like, you're not moving the ball. Let's put someone else out there. It's almost like RG3, I think, mentally, he's still not there. If his confidence he has taken out, I think it affects him a lot. So yes and no. He's getting beat up a lot, but as in yes, as in he needed to get some game time. And they've already said he's probably going to start on Saturday, and he's going against a very good Ravens defense that no matter who they lose or
not
what.
If you ask the Eagles.
Huh?
I said, not if you ask the Eagles.
What?
Because the Eagles shredded their defense the other day. So are they really a very good Ravens defense? If you ask the Eagles, they'd say no. But okay, I hear you.
But what I'm saying is every year somehow they find a way to have a good defense.
Of course,
it's a preseason.
A good season, and everyone will come together.
If you trot him out there again, starting on Saturday, and he keeps on getting banged up, and he's getting hit 7 times in the first quarter, do you play all 3 quarters like mostly what starters do in the third preseason game, or do you yank him out after the halftime? I mean, what do you do during that, Brad?
Well, honestly, in my opinion, if you don't wait until the regular season to find out if you're healthy. You have to be able to take hits and be okay in the preseason and in a little bit in training camp if you're a wide receiver or if you're a running back. I know quarterbacks don't get hit, but the only way if you're healthy and ready to go is if you're able to take shots. Eventually in the season you are gonna get hit, and so like this guy who's commenting saying, "Oh, you shouldn't put him back in." Well, why not? Are we just gonna bench him after the first quarter in the regular season? Oh, he's taking a lot of hits. We better bench him because we need him for next week. So just take a loss now? It makes no sense. In my opinion, if you want to find out if you're ready to go now, if you're healthy now, put him out there. What are you saving him for? If he says he's good to go, he's good to go.
And like you just comment, we come back to it again. Is this offensive line they thought with Sheriff was going to be a lot better, and even with Williams in there, the first preseason game he was getting hits. It still looks the same. It's still the same offensive line. I mean, Sheriff they brought him for a tackle, they moved him to guard because I guess they thought Moses looked better. Or it's like no matter what they do, this offensive line just can't get going. And
sure, but I didn't think they were going to click in just 2 games. Give them about 6 regular season games to maybe settle in. But you're right. In terms of like the first eye test, they're not passing it at all. But give them a little bit of time, in my opinion.
Well, what you do is moving Schreff down to the inside. Now, what they're trying to make is him comfortable. So if he's sitting out there at that right tackle, hey, there ain't no outside of him. There's nobody.
Mm-mm.
Okay, unless what you do is you take a tight end and sit it there. But you can't sit the tight end there the whole game. That's, into a game plan. But I think he said when he moved inside, he felt a little more comfortable because there was somebody to his right. Okay? So, that might have been why they made the move. There's no reason that he doesn't move back out. Not now, but eventually. It's I don't know, get confidence. Okay? You have to get a rhythm somewhere. All right? And that's what they have to get with the offense. There hasn't been a rhythm first 2 weeks. The rhythm comes in with with Cousins or McCoy, but like I say, they're going against the second team and guys that for the other teams that need to make the team. So, RG is going to have to go at least, to halftime. All right. And then if, Gruden wants a rhythm, he's a perfectionist in what he does. That's why they brought him to Washington. I mean, if he's got to get on board with his receivers. Okay. I mean, he hasn't had that much time with Deshaun Jackson. I mean, he didn't play last week, and that could contribute to him getting hit a few times. The other receivers run the routes were not where they were supposed to be. A lot of them are routes where I'm throwing to a spot. You better be there. And if you're not there, instead just throw it out of bounds if not possible in the middle of the field. But he's taking hits.
I agree with you, Coach, but we have seen indecision with him before, even when these receivers were on the field. So, I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, I'm like, when is he going to just start pulling the trigger? And even if they don't catch it, throw the ball where it's supposed to go. Like on every play, you need to deliver the ball where it's supposed to go. No matter what the consequences. And if the defense make a good play on the ball, the defense makes a good play on the ball. But this is the way the play is set up. Run the play.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing: is you get the run game going like what they've been doing, then you can run the bootlegs with him where he gets to do out, which they were doing with McCoy and Cousins, where Jones was getting the run game going, and you saw them run the bootleg with them, and people were like, "Well, why didn't they do RG3?" Well, the first 3 series of RG3, they didn't really move the ball, so it wasn't an option to do because people were, when you're 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, you're going to have to pass, so no one's going to believe you're going to run the ball like that. Yeah. So if you can get the run game going with Morrison, bring in Jones, get the bootleg going, there you go. You're in his element. You're in what he needs to do, and that's what they need to establish as a run game. And that's the one thing that's been looking good for Sheriff and Moses, that their run blocking is amazing. I mean, they're working good over there. They're pushing the linebackers is good. The reason a lot of people so far have been saying something about Sheriff is I'm hearing all the people talk about from Hard Knocks is like, oh, well, he got pushed back. Well, he also got pushed back from J.J. Watt. I mean, how can you judge? Even J.J. Watt said he's a rookie. It doesn't count. I mean, how can you judge something off of Hard Knocks when he's a rookie against J.J. Watt? That's not fair to him. But the bright spot is their run offensive line has been amazing, and they're getting it going. So you get the run game going. You can run the bootleg, the play action for RG3, and there you go. You're in his element when he can spread out where he's going to run. The one play that I saw that everyone kept on posting pictures up online, I don't know if you saw it on my Facebook, was he had the pass he brought back, and he had 3 receivers. Yes, granted it was a 3rd and 15 or something, but he had 3 open receivers at least 5 to 7 yards away from him, and he got hit that play. But instead of getting hit, just take the check down, get what you can get in better position for punting. Don't look downfield first. You have to look down, but if you don't see it, just get one of the checkoff shot. Yeah, you may not be a first down, but you're getting better position for a punt. That way you're not backing up all the way, to 10-yard line punt. Instead of that, maybe you're punting from the 25 or the 30.
Yeah, you can still maintain field position by doing something like that, like you're saying. Instead of taking a sack, where then if you shank a punt, they've completely reversed field position. So yeah, I hear you completely.
I mean, you look at the play, 3 of them are right there, wide open, right in front of him. It just seems like he's not doing his check down progressions right. Like he's looking downfield, and it's like, that's not open. I have nothing. Like, look in front of you, man. Deshaun, yeah, he's down the field, but Garcon's a very cheeky guy and run across the middle of the field, and he can make plays.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
and that's what they brought. That's what they brought Crowder for those little slant routes across the middle. You don't see him. Throw it to him. His speed. Let him make something. Let him try to get the edge or something.
Yeah, there's definitely still some kinks we need to work out. Yep. We'll have to, all this stuff is good. We'll have to stay tuned and kind of see if any of this changes come this weekend. If RG3 can go through his regressions a little bit better, make smarter decisions, be a little bit more accurate when run these plays, and get rid of the ball so he doesn't take shots.
Well, his workouts this week, from what you hear, have gone well. Gruden has been pleased with that. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes you look back as a coach and say, "Hey, you need a wake-up call somewhere." So maybe the game Thursday night with the hit was let's just hope and say that could have been a wake-up call.
Okay.
You know?
I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
Maybe he's realizing, look, I mean, his body's not. He's losing about every time he gets a hit. He's losing a couple games off his career, and his career's getting shorter and shorter. So maybe he needs to start realizing, look, I need to just get the ball quick. Just maybe.
I don't know if you can actually measure that stat.
Well, you can't, but I mean, torn ACL already. I mean, a broken ankle. I mean, how much more can your legs take? Even with the advanced
dislocated,
medicine.
not broken. Dislocated.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's like, well, AP came back from his. Well, AP's a freak.
He is a freak, and he had a year off. Give
yeah.
RG3 a year off, and I guarantee he'll look lively again without getting concussed and whatever the case may be throughout whatever happens to the regular season. Hopefully, nothing else.
Did you see Sea-Dog's comment?
Well, yeah, I mean, he'd have more than 2 seconds, second or, look for the third read, but you got to know where those reads are at. I mean, you know every play in the playbook, you don't see it. Look down real quick to try to get away. You have to try to avoid the hit somehow. Throw it out of bounds, get rid of it. Something to avoid the hit. I mean, that's what the problem is. He's holding. It's like he doesn't want to throw it away. I think this comes from last year to where Gruden put in his head, Kirk Cousins' head, Colt McCoy. They all have in their head, if they make a mistake, if they try to throw away the interception or something, they're going to be pulled out. And I think that's what problem comes to last year to where you saw where Cousins, he had the interceptions, quickly pulled. RG3 was doing bad, pulled him. Colt McCoy pulled. I mean, he was pulling his quarterbacks too, I think, quick, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about that, but I felt like it almost felt they had a feel. If I throw an interception, am I done for the day? I mean, what do you feel about that?
Okay, I agree with you, but this isn't like little kids league.
Well, I know.
This is the NFL. This is your job. I'm paying you to go out there, lead this team, and I'm gonna design plays. And if you run the play the way I say, and something bad happens, then okay. But if you're gonna try and improvise and you're gonna do stuff on your own, and you think you know better than me, you will be on the bench. So, like, I hear you, Shipe, but what it comes down to is, do your job. Even if you don't do it that well, if you still if you're still doing it and you're doing it the way the coaches want to see you do it, they'll reward you with more opportunities because in their minds, this will be the way that we can succeed. So if you stick to the way we can succeed, I will keep you in there. If you're going to deviate from that plan, sure, I'll throw you on the bench in a second. The next guy is willing to do what I say.
I have a question for you. Can you? I have two questions. Can you coach? What would be better, coaching interceptions from Kirk Cousins to make him the starter? Because obviously his problem is interceptions. Is it easier to coach interception problem or RG3's read problem? What do you think would be easier to do if you're a coach? Coach the interceptions out of Kirk Cousins or coach RG3 and trying to learn how to slide, make better decisions in the pocket?
I would say possibly the interceptions. I mean, that's a tough one, but I would say the interceptions because that is simply a lack of knowing what the smart play is. Like, if you're throwing interceptions into tight coverage, that's a bad decision, and that's a risky play that can be avoided. And sometimes Cousins made throws where it was directly to like defenders, and and it was just like, what were you possibly thinking? That can be changed with tape. RG3's instincts, his instinctual way he plays the game is hard to manipulate at this level. He's got away with it in high school, in college, and he got away with it a little bit his first year in the NFL. So some of these instinctual things that RG3 does are going to be hard to break. But Cousins just looking at tape, saying, "Hey, look, next time we run this play, if you have to move out, this is not the right decision to make. You throw it out of play, or this running back's gonna be rolling off right here. You can hit a little check down, little dump off right here instead of trying to force a 10, 15 yard pass while you're rolling left. I think that's easier to correct than instincts that RG3 has had success with over his career.
All right. What about you, Coach? What do you think is better to coach out of someone?
From my experience, one leads to the other. Okay, but by not looking at your check downs or whatever, and not just throwing the ball up, interceptions happen. It basically all gets down, and I've had this problem on some of the teams I coach. You're looking at a quarterback and he throws there, and we go, wait a minute, he's over here. Why'd you throw over there? And you get to look, I don't know. What? He's running an 8. Why did you throw a 9? It's like that that plays some time in the professional. A lot of the routes are like, you run the 7, 8, and 9, and he's going to throw it because he's looking 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so now if you come off a route and he's not seeing it because the 8's covered, if the free safety's sitting in the middle, and that's where you're throwing it, well, it's called read the free and read the strong. Where are they at? Know when you come up to the line where they're at, what your routes are. Okay? And, and the biggest thing is, execution. You have to get the execution down, or you're not gonna win. Execution. It's a major part of the game, and I think that may be, they're professionals. I hate downgrade them. Hell, they're getting all the money and everything, and but sometimes it happens. They either are not looking properly, or they think, man, wait a minute, he should be running at 6. Why he's not running a 6? He switches to a 5. You have to see that. There's going to be. And, if RG or any quarterback starts scrambling out of the pocket, then all of a sudden you have put in is your scramble routes. Now, are the receivers doing a scramble route for him? Or are they running at 8 and staying at the 8 and not scrambling and turning it into a 7? You got to look at both, and I'm sure they're professionals. They should have this in, but RG starts stepping up in the pocket and goes left or right. Then you got to look for a scramble route, which should be in. Okay, and I've seen sometimes where they'll run the routes and they're just sitting there, and there's RG running around and getting his ass kicked. It's I just think that the progression of the routes and throwing interceptions plays into the same thing. You have to get them out of both. One leads to the next.
It's funny. Are you reading? We're blessed with Robert Griffin III in the chat room today.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess his head must be fine. He can type and stuff.
Oh, he is?
He said, does anyone want to come out and try to do my job for the day? A lot of critics who sit on the couch game day. It's easy. It's easy to call from there, huh?
No one's hating RG3. We're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You bring up the scramble routes. You know what team does the best scramble
Seattle.
routes? No, I wasn't gonna say Seattle. I was gonna say Rossenberger and his little guys, where he just knows when he's got to scramble, he knows Brown or Wallace when he was there just trying to go down the field.
Well, he just
let me
points.
just chug it.
He always just points.
And
points
they
deep
do
and
it,
goes.
but it's
Yeah,
smart
that's true.
though. I mean, you got to admit it works for him.
Them in Seattle do the best in terms of like when the pocket breaks out and the quarterbacks just kind of the play's over.
When Wallace was there and now Brown, they
Around.
look back when they see him scramble out. They're like, all right, cool. Let me just go
Yeah,
down the
see
field.
it.
Let me just let him just chug it to me, and they're there. All right, we're gonna shift gears real quick and go to some other NFL preseason games. I want to start with another rookie. Well, actually, two rookies that looked pretty good on this team was the Jets. First off, Bryce Petty, 12 for 19, 168 yards, 1 touchdown. He's gonna be the backup with Geno Smith out. Fitzpatrick, 3 for 19 for 118, so not looking too bad for replacement. Marshall, 4 receptions for 62 yards. So, I mean, not to go on Geno Smith, and he wasn't really the best since he's come to the lead. Maybe with Fitzpatrick, maybe a better passing game could be there. But the big guy from the Jets that's looking scary good for their defense is Williams from the USC, the first round.
Yeah, he's looking aggressive.
1.5 sacks this game, 3 tackles for a loss. I mean, he's looking scary good, and that defense was already good to begin with.
Yeah.
And now, have they said anything about what's going on with Richardson, if he's going to get suspended, or is he even there yet, or
I
it's
don't
still
think
just
the league or the Jets have made a decision of
haven't?
how they want to kind of approach that situation as of right now.
Okay. Well, we got to keep on looking for that. On the other side, Matt Ryan, 4 for 5, 75 yards, 1 touchdown. So he's still looking strong.
He's only had 1 incompletion the whole preseason.
Yeah, I know. And then the other team that looked really good this past weekend has been the Eagles, who just beat up on the Ravens 40-17. I mean, their first team offense, 24 points. I mean, what more can you ask for? I mean, Murray had a running touchdown. Ryan Matthews. I mean, they're going to have a deadly combination in the backfield there with those two, including Sproles, the rookie wide receiver. Again, 4 receptions, 49 yards. I mean, still just their defense looks improved now with everything they've gotten with Matt Swell.
Well, both the defensive backs they got from Seattle, Thurman and Maxwell, both had picks in the last game. So.
I know, so it's looking pretty good. And Flacco, 3 for 7 for 23 yards, did not look good at all. I mean, Forsett, 5 carries for 29 yards, really their only bright spot there. Their defense looked bad, but like I said earlier before the show, their defense always finds a way to show up and do good during the season. Like I said, they're a December football team. No matter what, they always sneak. They always find a way to sneak in the playoffs, which has always been how they are.
Yeah.
So we'll have to keep on that.
How long has Flacco been in the game now?
5 years.
5 years.
Okay.
One Super Bowl. Another news around the NFL is wide receiver for Green Bay, Jordy Nelson, is done for the year with a torn ACL. So that's a big loss for the Packers, which means their number 2 guys are going to have to step up in terms of Randall Cobb is now going to be the new number 1 there. Rodgers is going to have to step up there. Not Aaron Rodgers. I'm talking about the wide receiver Rodgers, Adams. So could the offense be in trouble? We don't know for sure. We'll have to wait and find out what happens in the third preseason game when all the starters play for 3 quarters and see how it goes. But that's a huge loss. And now this team is really going to rely on Eddie Lacy now to maybe carry this offense.
Yeah. It's hard when you have such an all-star Pro Bowler and Aaron Rodgers to really get the ball out of his hands and kind of in the hands of Eddie Lacy, especially when it comes down to crunch time. But Eddie Lacy has proven that he's a playmaker in this league. You saw him in the playoffs; he was running just as hard as beast mode. It was fun to watch and it was aggressive. And so maybe he deserves a little bit more load on his shoulders. I know he can handle it. He's a big boy. This could be his time to step up to the plate a little bit more with the absence of Jordy Nelson and really that kind of deep threat that Green Bay has in Jordy and Rodgers.
Little reminder, we will be going to break momentarily, right once we're done with the preseason show. I'm just giving Paul the heads up so he knows. Got I go in there, Paul?
Yeah, thanks.
That's why I didn't want to say we're going to break now with you not being ready. I think the ugly game of the weekend was the Cowboys and 49ers. I mean, it was Cowboys only scored 6, 49ers only scored 23, but they scored 23 points on only 205 yards. I mean, it was just an ugly all-around game looking at all the stars. I mean, Kaepernick 2 for 5 for 13 yards. Romo 1 for 1 for -1 yards. I mean, Randall had 7 carries for 30 yards. I mean, it was just a ugly game to watch.
Not very pretty.
No, it wasn't.
I think a lot of concern, which you heard about a day or two leading up to it, was the field out there. I mean, these guys, from what understanding, that field is in terrible. Looks good from up to top, but to play on it, everybody, it's in terrible condition. And I don't know how an NFL field like that can get that bad, but you saw on a couple plays, I saw some highlights where I don't know if it was Romo or one of them threw out the backfield, and the back turns to take one step, and grass goes. He's tackled by the grass. So you got that going out underneath of you. That plays a lot. Up top there in the head. Do I step this way? Do I do something, or does the knee go or whatever? So I think with the scoring way it was, and you don't want to get anybody really, really hurt in bad field conditions, I would say that may have played a little bit into what happened during the game.
Well, it's a bad day when Romo's 1 for 1 for -1 yards still had the best QB rating for the Dallas Cowboys. That's when you know it's a bad day. Where you be 1 for 1 for -1 yards and still have the best QB rating for your team.
Yeah, they don't have much behind him, do they?
Another rookie that I'm looking at, obviously, is Mariota, who looked very sharp last night. He looked better than his first preseason game. No turnovers. Made one very nice play on the run where he had a scramble out the pocket, went back, went towards the sidelines, and found his tight end wide open down the field. So, like you said, they run the scramble plays, and he found someone wide open. Our defense looked really on point. Nick Foles' I think second or third pass of the game was a pitch sit.
Defense.
My defense. Sorry, my defense.
But the Titans' defense looked okay.
Sorry. Oh.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Paul.
So Titans defense looked pretty good. Foles threw a pitch sit first series, and one of the things that we had trouble with last year, the Titans did, was their rushing. And Sankey, had 6 carries for 45 yards, so he looked a lot better this year with this improved offensive line. Our defense is very improved. The other rookie, Green Beckham, had 4 receptions for 40 yards. Mettenberger is looking really sharp during the preseason, 7 for 9 for 91 yards. So, I mean, I think it was Chris Morrison of ESPN that said the Titans may have the two best young quarterbacks in the league on their roster in terms of second-year man Mettenberger and first-year Mariota. We'll see how that goes. But on the other side, Foles 3 for 7 for 18 yards. I mean, that says it all right there. Just did not look comfortable at all. It just looked ugly for Foles, and I don't know if maybe it's a different system. Maybe he doesn't have the same weapon. He obviously doesn't have the same weapons he had in Philly, so we're going to have to look at that very carefully, see if Foles even finishes the season as a starter there with the backups. They have Casey Keenum look pretty good, and Anthony Davis is always good, so we'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
So are you ready for break?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, we're going to go to break, cut back. We're going to come back with our sports history of the day segment and then debut our new segment, so stay tuned.
Hey, this is Paul from the Shipe Sports Talk podcast. Just wanted to let you know how you could listen to our podcast while you're on the go using an app called Stitcher. You can listen anytime, anywhere using the award-winning free Stitcher app. Best part is, when you stream our podcast or any of the other 20,000 available out there, there's no downloading, no syncing, or no wasted memory. It's on demand and on the go. So if you don't already have the Stitcher app on your iPhone, Android phone, or tablet, download it free today at Stitcher.com or from your app store. Add us to your favorites list, and every week when we put out our new episode, Stitcher will automatically update and have the latest episode of the Shipe Sports Talk podcast waiting for you. While you're there, it really helps us get our podcast noticed if you give us a nice review, rating, and thumbs up. We'll greatly appreciate it. Have a comment or question? Easy. Go to ShipeSportsTalk.com, click on the Contact Us tab, and there you'll be able to submit your questions or comments. We love hearing from you, so we'll be sure to thank you live on the air. You'll also find on ShipeSportsTalk.com the latest episodes, show notes, and other ways to find us on platforms like iTunes and YouTube. Now, back to the show.
All right, and we're back to Shipe Sports Talk Show, and right now I'm going to hand it over to David, the Coach Shipe, who will be doing our day in sports history. So, Coach, take it over.
Okay, today in sports history, Pete Rose was banned from baseball by the commissioner for gambling on Major League games and games that he played and managed in. So that was a big thing in today.
Lifetime ban.
Lifetime ban.
Still can't get in the Hall of Fame. But I did like what they do for the All-Star game this year. They did give him a little thing for him in Cincinnati. But
yeah.
The thing was about that was he was betting on his team to win. It's not like he was blowing games on purpose or betting them on to lose. He was betting for them to win. I see a problem with you betting if your team's going to lose just so because you can say that you're costing you, but betting on win. I mean, he thought he had the best team in baseball. I mean, what the hell? But I think the ban should be over with. This guy deserves a Hall of Fame without a doubt. He deserves it. And the sad part is he may not see it in his lifetime.
He'll never see it.
That's horrible. They need a commissioner that goes in there and says, you know what? It's done and over with. Let me put him in. We're putting steroid guys in. Let's put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, do you think he deserves it?
I think he definitely deserves it. There's no doubt about it. He's one of the greatest baseball players, one of the best hitters. This guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. It's that plain simple.
Yeah. I don't know.
So wait, they are putting people who have been caught with steroids and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, they're starting to receive a little bit more and more votes now because I think the voters starting to realize, you're in a steroid era. It's almost like who didn't use steroids is what we're almost getting to now.
Instead of you being like a first ballot, they make you wait after a couple times being on the ballot to get into the Hall of Fame. They're making these steroid guys wait, even though they deserve it because the numbers are there.
Okay.
Just kind of like a little penalty that says like, hey, look, we're not going to put you in right away.
Yeah.
Sure, you deserve it.
But he should. I mean, Pete Rose should be in there before they should.
Yeah, he should have been. He should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer if he didn't get banned for this.
But see, it goes back to what was it? I could be wrong on this date, but the 1912 White Sox. That's when they played a 9-game World Series, and they were paid off to blow it. They most of them, I think it was about 7 or 8 received money to blow the series, and that was because, at that point you're not getting a whole lot of money, so $500, man, it looks pretty good just to blow the game.
Yeah, it goes a long way.
Yeah,
right there, sure.
And they were pretty obvious about it too.
Oh.
I mean, if you ever watch that movie, The 8 Men Out, that's about the 1912 Chicago White Sox. and I believe their series was against the Cincinnati Reds.
Wow.
All right, so now it's time to debut our new segment, and this new segment is called Beasts of the East. What this segment is about is we're going to run through real quick, rapid fire, 5 minutes, if that, of every team's top stories in the NFC East. We're going to cover the NFC East, your opponents for the Redskins, their division opponents. So the new segment we'll call Beasts of the East. We're going to start right now. First with the Giants. The main thing is Jason Pierre-Paul. Man, blew up his fingers during the fireworks incident, had him cut off. Still has not shown himself up at training camp. They thought he would have been there by now, maybe working out maybe a little bit, but he hasn't shown himself up. Also, Eli Manning is demanding top money. He thinks he deserves to be paid more than Aaron Rodgers for some reason.
He went on record and said that. He never said that.
Well, he went on record and said that?
Yeah.
It was his agent.
Well, either way, I hope he didn't say that because he
Good
doesn't.
for his agent. That's the kind of agent I want.
He didn't say that.
So that's them. Go ahead and chime in. Anything else for the Eagles? The Giants.
Yeah, I think with an already depleted secondary, they just lost one of their draft picks, one of their defensive backs for the year with a torn ACL. So, they're going to be in a division where they got to go up against Sean Jackson, they got to go up against Des Bryant, and they're going to have to go up against Sam Bradford and the high-flying Eagles. I hope you can come and play. I think this is a hard hit for them because they're going to need to be able to have players who can stop some of these big flying wide receivers.
Yeah, I was looking at the Giants and I saw some things. The tight end they have, Randall, they expect big things out of him because that's going to help Eli down the chute and outside. And the biggest thing is, when and if Jason Pierre-Paul shows up, how effective is he going to be? Because nobody's seen him or talked to him, so that's a big question for him. Did they replace him or is he going to come back?
All right, now we'll go to the Cowboys, and my big thing is the backfield. I think Randall he played this week, but I think he had a little tweaked injury, a little minor one. You have McFadden, so it's like who's going to get the most time there, who's going to get split time. McFadden came out and said that they're going to split times, but we'll have to see about that. Romo's health, obviously he's always, sometimes he gets a little injury during the year, so that'll be a major thing to look out for if he can stay healthy. So chime in on the Cowboys.
Well, this ties into kind of what you're saying, Shibe. Yeah, I think their biggest concern right now is their backfield. They have not been able to run the ball anywhere near at the level they were able to run it last year with DeMarco Murray. So the thing I'm considering is, when is this going to become the Tony Romo show? When are they going to bail on the run game because it's not going to be working? It looks like it's not very, very good at all. And when is he going to blow it for the Cowboys like he always does? When they lean on him really heavy, when is he going to blow it? So for right now, I think if they don't get that run game going, it's going to be the Tony Romo show, and we all know how that one ends.
Yeah, I was just looking at some things that, on the defense, Randy Gregory continues to impress people at the Dallas camp. Now, with talking about Romo, Beasley returns from his Achilles injury, so that'll give him a little help out there. And, the biggest thing is running game is Darren McFadden. Can he stay healthy? If he stays healthy, I think it might improve, but he gets healthy, gets some little pep in his step and gets confidence, running behind that offensive line, I think it'll be okay. And, of course, Des Bryant's going to be Des Bryant.
Yeah.
And, Romo has to stay healthy. They have to keep him healthy. If this can come together, I think that they may give Philly a run in the East.
All right, and the last team for the Beats of the East segment will be the Philadelphia Eagles. And my thing for them is their running back with Murray. What?
I'm looking down my list here.
Whatever. You have like 7 bullets. So Murray, Matthews, and Sproles, how well they're going to work together, how they're going to use them, each one. So we'll have to look into that. You all go ahead and say yours.
I'll go ahead. I just think it's incredible that they continue to get rid of some of their top players, and they can pull guys right into a system, and it works. They're still dropping 40 points, still scoring 35 points like it's nothing. They're making it look so easy, and that goes for every single line they put in there, whether it's first stringers. Even though Bradford didn't have a great game, they put in Sanchez, and Sanchez was tearing Baltimore up just as bad. It's just from the top down, looks like everyone's in. Looks like the Eagles are all in, and if they need to sub someone out, the next guy is ready to go. You know, they've looked very crisp. I think they've looked like the best team so far in the preseason, and it's a credit to Chip Kelly and that whole organization they have going right now.
Yeah, I agree with both of you, but here's the thing that was a concern for the Eagles, okay, was their secondary. You know, last year their secondary, was given up. I think they were ranked maybe 30th or 31st in the NFL.
Yeah, bad.
In pass. So that has been looking pretty impressive, the first two games. So if the offense can score and the secondary can continue to play well, all right, then that is going to be the denominator for the Phillies.
Sure.
I mean, for the Phillies. I must be watching their game.
Eagles.
I mean, for the Eagles. The Eagles. Oh, they're both in the same sound, so who cares? They play right across the street from each other.
And that is our Beast of the East segment. We will do that every week. Go over all the top stories for the three opponents for the Redskins, just like every week we'll be doing our Day in Sports History. So welcome to the new segment, everyone.
We're going to have to make some
Sound things.
some sound bites for that.
The Eagles.
Or just, yeah.
Okay.
This week
Something
in
interesting.
sports history or something.
No, the New York Football Giants.
All right, we're going to shift gears here and go right to the baseball team of your District of Columbia, which are the Washington Nationals. And they've won the past two series they've done. They took 2 or 3 from Colorado, 2 or 3 from Milwaukee. But as they win, so do the Mets. And the Mets they just swept Colorado, which is what we should have done. They have a 5-game lead now. And it looks like it's going to take the Nationals probably doing 600 baseball the rest of the way to probably win this division. You get Denard Span back tomorrow night. They're saying they're going to activate him. They called up Trey Turner, the highly touted prospect that everyone's been waiting for. Excuse me. To get called up. So we have him coming up. Rendon's bat's been getting going. I think he's had home runs in the past 2 games. Michael Taylor homered in 3 straight games, including a 497-foot bomb in Colorado. He went straight away center and took it even over the seats.
Whoa, really?
490, the longest home run yet in Major League Baseball,
Yeah,
and it
this
looked like
year.
he barely even hit it. Like he just carried. I don't know if it was the mile high weather or he just carried
I'm sure
it.
that has something to do with
But
it.
he just carried it.
I mean, it was
My golf balls went further in Colorado, that's for sure.
air's thinner.
The bullpens looked pretty good these past series. Starting pitching, kept them there. The 2 games they lost, really, they just weren't scoring runs. I mean, I think except for the first Milwaukee game, Milwaukee just kind of just blew them out the water towards the end there. But they've looked pretty good the past 2 series, which they should because they're against horrible teams, which they'll be doing against, I think they got the last place Padres, second to last place, and they're in front of Colorado, but not by much. And then after that, the last place Marlins. So they got to win because you look at the Mets, I mean, they're playing Philly, but right now Philly is beating the Mets 3-1. So everyone in D.C., if you're a Nationals fan, you want to root for Philly.
Go Phillies.
Root for Phillies these next couple of games.
Go Phillies.
So what happens if they don't win the division? Anything? I mean, are they
They're done.
They're out of the
Yep.
playoff contention?
Yep, might as well.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, no,
No baseball here until March.
9 games, 10 games back from the.
Yeah.
No baseball till March, which means another disappointed year in DC, which teams with high expectations just, at least with the Redskins, we know that they're not going to make the playoffs. The Nationals were expected to be World Series contenders.
That's true.
That's what makes it worse.
The season's not over.
What?
You're talking like the season's
Yeah.
over.
It's not over, but I'm saying in terms of expectations where they should be, right now they should be the best team in baseball is what everyone expected them to be.
Sure, but we've seen
Crazier things happen.
We've seen that the number 1 or even number 2 teams that are in the playoffs in baseball generally have not been winning.
Yeah, and you know who they are? The Nationals for the last 3 years.
Okay, I'm not saying just the NL. That goes for the AL too.
They do,
It
but
goes for
you're,
the AL too. It's the 5th seed. It's the 4th seed. It's these teams that get hot that were maybe falling behind a little bit, that need a little bit of a spark. Kind of in a situation we're sitting in, need a little bit of spark towards the end of the season. They get hot where expectations were higher for them. They didn't hit where they were supposed to be, but they're still here. And now they're playing good ball. So, let's hope that becomes us this year. Let's hope that we come in and we're kind of under the radar and everyone's kind of like knocking us, but we're playing hot. And we are that number 1 team that we were supposed to be.
well, the fact that we're flirting with 500 is really bad. I mean, we should not be a game over 500. We should be well over maybe 50. I mean,
at least 10,
I
yeah,
I
it should be 10
predicted the
over.
division was going to be wrapped up by the first week of September, so I was wrong with that.
You jump on and off stuff really
Yeah.
quickly, though.
Yeah, he does.
What are you talking about?
You jump to conclusions really, really quick.
I know, but it's just
How
As,
far?
as a
sure as
fan,
hell
you're
couldn't be.
frustrated. That's what it is. I'm frustrated.
Okay,
Well-
so gather your emotions.
Yeah.
Everything's okay.
calm
buddy.
down.
Everything's
How far?
okay.
How
mean,
many games have
wasn't-
been played, or how far in the season are they?
A lot. I couldn't even tell
We're
you.
probably like 4/5 there. Probably we're making the final lap turn. When
Okay.
September
They're in the
hits,
final
when
final
September
stretch.
hits, we're on our last lap.
Okay.
We're halfway done with the third. We're almost done with the third lap. We're almost there.
And who knows if they take the series from San Diego? Okay,
They got to sweep San Diego.
and I think it's a must. People may say it's not, but to sweep the Marlins. They had a little bit of trouble with the Marlins this year.
Yeah.
If they can sweep them, okay, and get a 6 games win streak with what they've had, and it's not impossible for them to put together a 8, 9, 10, 12 game win streak. And then if you're the Mets, you're looking and say, okay, something's going on here. Now we're at 5.5, maybe it comes up to 3.5, and go, wait a minute, we got to do something maybe we haven't been doing all year, and that's, giddy up and go. And the Nationals keep, they keep looking at them in the rear. Who
Well-
knows? Mets may fall.
Once again, when we play the Mets, if the schedule stays the same in terms of no rainouts, Scherzer will once again not see the Mets. So for a third straight series, no Scherzer against the Mets.
Okay, that
could
is so
change.
that is so far down the road. We don't even be thinking about that right now. What we need to be thinking about is San Diego.
And the Marlins coming
And
in.
then
there.
the
But
Marlins.
San
Well, I
Diego-
like our
Forget
chance.
that
I
far
like
down
our
the road.
chances to sweep San Diego because we got Straws, Scherzer, Gio. So I like our chances
Okay,
there to sweep.
then let's focus on that. Like seriously, because if we start getting ahead of ourselves, I feel like we've done that all year, where we
Right.
expected the crown and just like they were going to give it to us, and we just kept looking ahead and looking ahead and looking ahead, and not even focusing on what we're supposed to be doing right now. Right now, we need to not be worried about the Mets at all. And if Scherzer's going to match up, who cares? Like Matt Williams should not even be concerned with that realistically. Now it's like literally we need wins now, not when we play the Mets, because we could lose every game going up until that moment. We need wins now.
Well, looking, they always do the pitching things a couple weeks.
Yeah,
But what's scaring me is I'm not worried about San Diego. I'm not worried about Miami. It's that St. Louis series that's coming up, and we got their 3 best pitchers going again. We got to face Lackey, Martinez, and Walker, and that's really the series that, other than the Mets, that's the series that scares me, is because St. Louis is the best team in baseball right
Yeah.
now, and we can't afford to maybe get swept by them. We can't afford. We got to at least win 2.
I mean,
If I'll be happy with 1 win, but we can't avoid another sweep.
right now we are struggling to stay above water, and if we need to use Scherzer to make sure we gasp and get another breath of air to stay alive, we have to. We can't worry about.
We got Scherzer against St. Louis. That helps.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's when we need to use them. And you know what? If it comes down to it, where finally we've climbed above water and we can see the surface, and here we come against the Mets, we've at least clawed back. We've at least still stayed alive for this long. Right now we need to just focus on staying alive, and that means using Scherzer and using whatever energy we have. We have to do it. Like we can't afford to.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Go
would
ahead.
it scare you at all that we may have to face the Harvey DeGrom thing again?
Sure,
against the Mets?
that terrifies me. But that could mean absolutely nothing if we don't put
When-
Scherzer and Gio and Strasburg and Zim. If we don't put those guys first right now, we could lose a couple games here and it'd be worth nothing. And then what does the series with the Mets even mean if we're down? If we're down 7 or even still down 5, almost what does it even mean? We've shot ourselves out of it. Right now, we need to go on a nice little winning streak and cross the Mets bridge when we get there.
Well, the good thing for us right now is the Phillies added on another run, so it's 4-1 Phillies. So let's go Phillies.
And that's great. And we'll cheer for the people playing against the Mets along the way.
Yeah,
But we need to handle
and
all
what
our
you
business.
just said, the Phillies scored another run. Well, if the Nationals keep scoring like they have been, it doesn't matter who's pitching for them.
Howard hit a bomb.
Just score runs. Get the
And-
runs. Get the hits when you need them. Don't leave anybody. And if they continue doing that, hey, they're going to put pressure. And see how some teams, just might
And
melt under.
for the Mets.
Could
Welcome
be.
back, David Wright hit a home run his first at bat. So welcome
course.
back.
Of course.
Of course. Welcome back, David Wright.
Surprised he didn't get injured running around the bases.
I mean,
Too soon. Okay, sorry, Dave.
I'm not gonna say that.
I
No,
am-
we all wished it
Well,
secretly.
just don't act like right now you're
There's
handing over the National League East to the Mets. Okay, it seems like you're just saying, okay, give the shovel to the Nationals and start. But there's really 6 back, 5.5.
5.
Okay, 5 is nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, Mets go in there and they lose 2 out of 3.
We got to win
Okay.
2 out of 3 though.
Then we take the series. So where does that put us?
4, 3,
Maybe 3.
3.
Yeah, 3.
Okay, and then the next series the Mets play, let's say we sweep Miami. Mets may win a couple games or 2. Now they're in a 3-game series. Okay, that may put us 3 complete or 2.5.
You know what series
You
really,
still got September.
you know what series really comes back to me that's really going to bite us in the ass is that series against Colorado here where Storm blew those 2 games in the 8th.
That Grand Slam.
Give the Grand Slam and then the night after that where if we don't lose those and one like we should have, we're only 3 back, and I think that may come back to haunt us maybe a little bit.
Sure.
We hope it doesn't, but those 2 games could come back to bite us in the ass real big because those were 2 games that we should have won.
Absolutely.
But I mean, hopefully the Phillies will keep their winning ways rolling against the Mets. But I think what I read was they just skipped Harvey's start over the weekend on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they're resting him, and this is where the Nationals should see this as a slap in the face. Is the Mets have come out and said, all right, we're going to rest Harvey, DeGrom, and Syndergaard because we're preparing these guys for October. If you're a Nats fan, you should take that as an insult. Or a national player like, they're not even worried about us anymore. Wouldn't you take that as an insult if you're a national player?
Sure, but I would also take it as a chance to strike. If they're gonna get into like cruise mode, we're still on attack mode. If they want to cruise, that's fine. Then we'll come out firing, and you can bench these guys. And when they get into the postseason, they won't be hot. Those aren't the teams that win. The teams that go into coast mode are not the teams that win. It's the teams that come into the playoffs hot and firing.
Right.
Which is the Giants every year. They've
Which
won the
is
World
Giants
Series.
every
Yes, it
single
has
year.
been. So if the Nationals pull that off and they're coming
Yep.
in hot and firing, put
Yep.
anybody against
Why
them.
can't it
I'll,
be the Nats?
I'll take them.
Well, I hope they do. I really want to talk postseason baseball in October again. I want
And there's
to.
a good possibility we may.
Yeah.
I mean, I really thought going to this year, with I was hoping the Redskins would be a lot better than what we've seen so far. Is that I would love to have all 4 teams in the playoffs.
We haven't lost a game all season.
We haven't. I'm saying preseason so far what we've seen, but I would really love to be able to. I'm sure everyone in DC.
Too early. You're already panicking.
I'm not
too early.
panicking about who.
You've already given our season up. You just said, well, the Redskins look like crap. They haven't even played a single game yet.
Well, so far everyone's optimistic about them, and you even know it.
I'm just saying.
I'm just
hear
saying
you.
I would love for every team in DC to make the playoffs just once. There's always one team that doesn't.
That'd be nice, but I don't know any city that has every single major sport make the playoffs.
I can name one probably about a couple years ago. I'm sure Boston had every team in the playoffs.
See, I know they had hockey. I know. Yeah, I think the
Celtics
Red
were good.
Sox
That's
may
when the
get in, and the Seas may have got in.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the Patriots.
I want a sports
of course,
town
be there.
like I love our sports town, but I want to be able to field championships. I want a
All
damn
right, sports fans,
parade.
follow us. We're moving to Boston.
Yeah.
I want a parade. I want to be able to go down there and enjoy
I
a parade.
want a parade.
Do we have tissues, Paul?
Yeah, I know. Jeez.
I mean, last year I thought it was gonna be. I honestly thought the Wizards were gonna make the finals if John Wall. That's what killed us was John Wall got hurt. Capitals just
Yeah.
can't beat the Rangers in Game 7 ever.
No. Yep, we know that. But yeah,
And of course we outused Henry Lushquist. He used all his energy against us, and he
I
got
know he got
pwned by
torched.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, he got torched for Tampa.
Man.
But Denard Span, let's hope he gives a spark. But then, here's my question to Denard Span, is that Michael Taylor's been so hot, and Jason Worth has been, Do
Better.
you give Taylor some starts in left field? And give Worth some rest? Or what do you do there? I mean, it sucks that you have to sit Michael Taylor with how hot he's been. I mean, what would you do with Taylor?
That's a good question. That's tough. We gotta get Span back in there because we need more hits.
Yeah.
We need more runners. We just need something electric. We just need
Speed
something
up top.
Yeah, we need speed up top. We got to get more position or more players in position to score runs, and Span does a good job stealing bases, extending hits. So we need him in the lineup. And I don't think it would hurt to give Worth a little rest because he has had a history of getting nicked up a little bit, and Taylor's still playing hot. So sure, maybe we put Jason down for a little bit and let his body get healthy and
Bring
and
him back
maybe
towards the end of September and
it's not a bad option.
But it's
Middle
good.
of
It's good to have
September.
that option in Taylor though off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like I said, you have Turner now off the bench.
Sure, Turner
Espinoza.
doesn't have any real.
Well, let's hope and see how he does. I have high hopes for him.
Oh, okay.
I'm having high hopes.
That's fine, but like
What I meant with Turner off the bench was he gives us speed on the base path,
Oh, okay.
and that's what we need.
I mean, sure, we're gonna pinch run him.
Maybe. I mean, you could
Oh,
use
yeah.
a. I mean, if you need
Yeah.
a run, like one run, and let's say you have Ramos on, and you need a quick run, put him on.
Yeah.
Lobaton come and finish catching.
I'd be fine with that.
So I think that's about going to do us for today. And we had, we went over the Redskins training camp. We went over, preseason RG3's injury. We debuted our one new segment, one from last week. You'll tune in for that every week. Next week we will be discussing the Redskins' third preseason game and how RG3 did for playing for 3 quarters. And also all the Redskins starters. Hopefully, once again, the Nats can hopefully gain some ground. So I'm going to turn it over to Paul.
Yeah, so what am I going to tell them? Tell them where they can find the Shipe Sports Talk show. You can visit us on the website, which is www.shipesportstalk.com. You can tweet us at Shipe Sports Talk. Send us emails. Let us know how we're doing. Send us your questions, comments, whatever you want to send in. We'd love to hear it, read it, and we'll give you a shout out on air or something like that. So you can send that to shipesportstalk@gmail.com. And Facebook, Shipe Sports Talk, pretty much all the media, social media outlets. You can just search for Shipe Sports Talk and we will show up. Oh, and if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and give us a like, subscribe to the channel, just so you're updated with all the new episodes and all that kind of stuff, new events that will be coming out. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, so thank you everyone for listening, for all the comments. RG3, thank you for joining us in the chat room. Whoever you are,
Better.
That was an honor.
thank you for. I'm glad you're doing good. So once again, for myself,
Glad that he knows we're talking.
Paul, Brad, the coach, go Nationals, get some wins this week. Go Redskins. Hopefully the Stars look good, and thank you for joining us. And tune in next Thursday, 7 p.m. And we will be giving updates on Facebook about our live broadcast show at BWB.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yep.
All right. See ya.
See ya.